Hello everyone, today I'll be doing some Legend 2 hits with this army on screen right now, Jetpack Roots. I've been playing Roots for a while. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure if Jetpack Roots will still be playable with the Giant Arrow nerf coming, but let's just savor these good times while they last, and let's get into the attacks please. Alright, heading to the first attack of the week, we have Jose 2. I believe this guy had one of the best defenses in the league with this base, although it's a pretty old base, modified, old box base, not built against Jetpack Arrow at all actually, but I guess the defenses are spread out in a way so you can't really get too much with just 2 quakes. If I had 3, that would be very nice. I get the Revenge Tower and like the Rage Tower and maybe like a Inferno or something, that would be quite nice. I go ahead and start the RC walk over here. I wanted to get the Fire Spitter, but I didn't want to place the RC too far into the middle because I thought there would be some traps where the Elixir Storage and the Hero Hall in between those 2 buildings, so I kind of opted for my RC to go a bit more down. Here there's honestly a real chance that she went to the left side Builder Hut, which honestly wouldn't have been the end of the world for me either. I would be able to get some damage on the Revenge Tower obviously and the Rage Tower, and that would save me an Earthquake or 2, which I can use lower down on the Clan Castle or something. So that would have been fine as well. Here you're going to see that I was really greedy for another single cycle, but unfortunately I did not set myself up for one, so I luckily recall my RC before she pops the ability, but my Fox does go down. I hit a pretty nice Jetpack Giant Arrow, take out basically everything in the core that was of its Earthquake. Unfortunately, my Valks walk up here. My Archer's not cleared well enough. What the hell are you guys doing, Archers? That's okay. Here, my Duke died, and my RC was forced to pop the ability, so I panicked, and I popped the Wooden's Eternal Tome, which I guess wasn't the worst. There was some firepower here, but my Duke already died, and it's just like, I saved my RC, but not really anything else. That was quite unfortunate. Definitely one of the biggest mistakes of this attack. I overgo the triple multi just instantly because there's no Rage Tower anymore, so I don't have to wait for that to pop. And I go ahead and poison on the Heroes and the Long Shot, which subsequently means that the Headhunters are able to target my Heroes. I do have a bunch of spam units as well as the E-Boots to help take care of them, so it doesn't really do that much. And when the Overgrowth expires, the rest of my troops, as you can see I have a lot of stuff in the Skywagon, they will be able to clear up this base. So 2 pretty big mistakes to be honest, using the Fox there in the RC chart and taking a bunch of damage, and the Duke dying and being forced to pop into him for the RC. So as you can see, I mean, this is a pretty okay triple. I do have a decent amount of stuff left over. So there definitely is some margin for error with this attack, at least right now, so maybe it will still be playable in the next update, but I'm definitely enjoying myself right now. Alright, now head into the second hit. This is quite a common base. I believe it was used by, I'm not sure, maybe it was Stars. Definitely quite a good amount of L1 players after, so it definitely was quite popular in L1 for a while, and this kind of general frame was definitely quite common as well. I did actually practice against this beforehand in FCs just because it was such a common base, but you'll see that I do mess up a little bit in this specific attack. So I know for a fact that actually there's RCC bait here because, well, I have the base myself and there's RCC bait, but I run into it anyways, and I take some damage on the Fox there. But I stick with the single cycle just because there's not really much point damage. There's some Teslas or Revenge Tower, like an early stage Revenge Tower, so there's not really that much damage for me. I'm able to kind of just single cycle the whole time, even though my Fox did already take half of its health. But I didn't really get punished for it that much, I would say. I leave the, well, it's not really that intentional, but the Elixir Storage is an invis, which means that the Fox stays on it, so it doesn't get hit by the Gigabomb, so that's quite nice. But regardless, at the end, my Fox is very, very low HP, and I think it might actually die. I'm not quite sure. Let's just see. Yeah, it dies to that Giant Bomb right there, but that's okay because I get the right side Fire Spitter, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, my RC didn't path down to the left side Fire Spitter, so I just used my Rock Goodness to tidy that up. I didn't have to use all of them, but that's okay. Here, if you line up the Giant Arrow correctly, I'm pretty sure you can get the Rage Tower, CC, and Monolith, but I missed like everything, so I only got the Rage Tower. So that was already quite a big issue. Fortunately for me though, The crafted defense on this one is the air bombs, which means that it doesn't really matter for my attack. There's a lot of stuff in the core here, all 4 heroes plus the logger, so I just go ahead and use the Warden's ability, and also get some of the headhunters. I'm pretty sure there is a few headhunters in there. I overgrowth the core. Now usually I would keep overgrowth for the lower side rage tower. The reason I did overgrowth the core on this specific attack is because I saw my queen and duke walk down, and my duke has the phoenix, so even if my duke was to die, the death damage would be quite nice, just to get some good help out of the defenses on the rage towers, and also the phoenix duke would kind of just take everything out, so I didn't feel that I needed the overgrowth for the bottom. And in the core, with all the heroes and the CC and like skelly traps and everything, I felt that I couldn't get to the left side multi or monolith for a bit, so I just decided to overgrowth that, and as you can see, it ends up in a decently nice triple. Alright, into the next attack with a more centralized kind of base. Still similar to the frame we saw in the first base, but definitely not quite the same with the box style. And the reason I chose this attack specifically, well, you will see. Although the jetpack arrow looks like so much value, you know, like everything is in the down the center line. It looks very, very nice. I go ahead and go for the RC here because on the bottom there isn't really anything to anchor my giant arrow onto. So I decide that even though for roots generally you don't want to start at the town hall, just because the giant arrow value would be so much for me, that I decided to start here anyways. So yeah, as you can see, obviously with the heroes and everything, luckily this base had a logger. If it had the guardian, then it would have kept hitting my RC and fox, and that would have been very annoying. Fortunately, the logger shoots a bit slower, so it's not able to get any shots onto my RC and fox while like in between the gaps of my single cycles. So my RC does get some good value here, I would say. It's quite nice. I honestly only wanted her to clear out just this compartment that she did, just so that the funneling is a little bit easier. And as you can see, I go for the double quake on the CC and the bench tower, and I miss everything. And it's just completely gone away. I've missed both things that I quaked. I didn't even take out the rage tower at the start. That basically got nothing. I kind of just threw away my jetpack giant arrow. I did get the poison tower at the bottom. You know, that's not really, you know, one poison tower for 2 pieces of equipment plus 2 quakes. Not really sure that's quite worth it. This CC actually had 3 ice golems. Since air is so meta right now, we usually do see maybe 1 furnace and mass headhunters, maybe like a witch or something in there. Usually there is a good amount of headhunters, but this CC had all ice golems, which usually is quite bad for ground. But honestly, if I had a damage CC, I think that would have been a little bit more annoying for me, just because I got absolutely no value off the jetpack, so maybe a damage CC would have given me a chance. I'm not quite sure. I overgrowth onto the lava launcher and the wrench tower. Pretty good value there, since I wasn't able to get that with my jetpack. And as you can see, my attack's kind of fizzling out here, but fortunately for me, my duke does have the phoenix, so it's going to take out the revenge tower and also just tank for a bit while my other heroes and troops kind of move around the base. So this was honestly quite a catastrophic mistake, missing everything with the jetpack arrow. You know, it does happen. To be fair, it does happen, so you have to be prepared to recover attacks like this, and honestly I would say this was a decent one, and I was able to get the triple regardless. Now up against OE Yeziquil, I don't know how to pronounce that. This is a relatively common base, I would say. At least some aspects of it are quite common. The monolith with 2 fire spitters pointing away, that kind of structure has been used for so long now. And this base does have it, also with the rage compartments spread out, quite common. So I go ahead and just start the RC into the rage tower straight away. I do funnel for it a little bit just because I'm scared it's going to walk away from the rage tower. I'm not really sure those were needed, to be honest, but maybe nice to have regardless. There's some traps here. It's not really too bad. I wouldn't really say this is like a heavy bait, so my RC is able to get some pretty good value here. I don't really mind. It's not too bad. Then my RC gets stuck on the king, so I have to just, I let her take some shots at the king, but eventually I do have to recall her without getting the expo. I'm not sure I would have gotten the expo regardless, but at least maybe had a chance at it. And once again, this giant arrow jetpack, it's kind of interesting. At least I got the lava launcher, which is the main thing that I wanted anyways. I decided to start my roots down here. So this base is kind of awkward in the sense that I'm not placing my roots where I did the jetpack giant arrow from. So my roots have to walk across a little bit more. Maybe it would have been better to place my roots first and then do the combo, because as you can see, my queen does die immediately, just because there is some pretty heavy firepower. And eventually, does my dude go down here? Yep, my dude goes down. But that's honestly not the end of the world. There is a good amount of value in the top compartment anyway, so the Phoenix is getting some decent value. I'm able to take out a multi and a revenge tower. And eventually, as you can see, I get some nice reinforcements from the Skywagon into the Town Hall, so I do take that out. A lot of my roots got stuck up there with the Tesla, which was honestly very annoying, which means that now my, what's it called? My Warden ability, the Eternal Tone, didn't really get that much value, but it's fine because one of my Infernal Dragons from the Skywagon triggered the Rage, so I'm able to just overgrowth kind of early. And this will be pretty nice at this point. I mean, I have a lot of just small units from the Skywagon, and also my RC is alive, I have a totem left, everything is pretty good. I think one of my cleanup troops pulled the Lava Hound. I mean, that's kind of inevitable because I do have some super barbecues up anyways. That was kind of annoying to deal with. At the end, the time's not really that close. I mean, 30 seconds is okay for the riders. That's yet again quite a nice triple. Up against the next base, this is a modified version of a base I did used to use as well, with the Town Hall with the Monolith is, and maybe some slight adjustments as well. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm trying to include some different kinds of bases in here, although I do feel the base meta is a little bit stale recently. We're kind of getting a lot of the base from the second attack, I believe, that a lot of the L1 players are using. But this is quite a nice change-up, so I do decide to show this attack. I RC into the Revenge Tower just because, well, it does no damage at the start compared to the multi-gear tower that would have been on the other side, and obviously I would prefer to deal with that as soon as possible always. This part is kind of baited, which honestly that's pretty expected with the Revenge Tower is. I would bait this part too if I was the base builder. Honestly, not even that many traps, less than I was expecting at least. There was like two giant bombs, maybe some spring traps, not the end of the world. I just let my RC kind of go here because I have invis left and I don't really want to keep it that badly. And I think I will be able to get this Fire Spitter, which is quite nice, and my Fox does cycle, so even that air defense and a bit of damage onto the Expo. So overall, that was quite a good RC charge. Now the Giant Arrow here isn't really that easy to line up. I have to kind of do something diagonal, but I am able to take out the Lava Launcher and the Monolith, which is honestly really everything I wanted. I didn't really expect to get anything from the bottom or anything, so that was no problem. I kind of let my roots just walk around the left top side instead of making them go into the middle, because my Duke is in there anyways. There's not a lot of firepower against air, so he's kind of able to just play that comp on his own, which is very, very nice. I use the rocket lanes here. I wanted to put out the Rage Tower actually, but I wasn't able to do that. I brought the CC instead, which is also fine, I suppose. So I detoned here because the Rage Tower, the Long Shot, and Headhunters, that was pretty good value overall. I didn't realize my RC actually went that far down, so I popped her ability maybe a little bit late. I would have preferred for it to be a little further away, but that's honestly not too bad. I overgrowth when the Rage Tower pops, you should always be doing that. Well, maybe not always, but if you can, that is generally the right thing to do. And as you can see here, this is a relatively clean clear up, although a lot of my stuff is on the HP. I do have all my heroes alive, they're all pretty high health, and there's some new riders left. This is a pretty clean hit, and honestly I don't think this base is very strong. Maybe that's why the base meta is so stale, just because these kind of off bases aren't that good right now. Alright, now this base is one that I'm quite excited to talk about, because this structure, after I did my legend hits, well, not really legend, like legend 2, so it's like my glorified electro hits, I practiced against a base that was similar to this, except it had solid walls on the left and right. I'm not really sure if you guys know what prototype I'm talking about, but it was very similar to this one. I put it in Legend 1 modifiers, and I hit so many times, and I failed so many times with Root Riders, with Jetpack Driders, with Hydra. I just could not get it. After like 5 attacks, I finally succeeded one time, I think, and then I had some Clanmates try it out. They also struggled. Maybe we just sucked, to be honest, but I honestly do think this is quite a nice kind of base, although I guess I didn't really struggle against this prototype as much. I guess this is also a Legend 2 modifier, so not too bad. I decided to go for the RC charge up here. Honestly, not too bad, just getting rid of that rage compartment. My Fox does die a bit earlier than I expected it to. I really want to keep my RC ability here, so I just do my invis slightly early, which is not the end of the world for sure. Another kind of, not the easiest to line up, but I suppose, but it is kind of just a straight line at least, not really diagonal or anything, and I do hit the monolith, so that was quite nice execution. Quite lucky by me. The CC here really isn't anything. I kind of just, I mean, it slows me down a little bit for sure, and my Duke does take a lot of damage from the air defense. It's honestly not that big of a deal. My army has a relatively clear path except for that ricochet cannon. Unfortunately, nothing really goes that way. I Eternal Tome, not because there's that much damage here, but I just want to keep my Duke alive, and I do succeed in doing that, which I will take. He dies shortly afterwards, but I guess he at least had a chance of surviving. That RC, I popped the ability way too late when the king was already on her, so she just died with ability. That was quite unfortunate. So obviously there are, I mean, there's always going to be small mistakes across all these attacks just because I'm not a perfect player. And I'm not even Legend 1, so that really proves to you that this army does take skill, but not that much, to be honest. I have a totem here for the wrench shot and multi-gear. My queen is stuck outside the wall, I'm not really sure what she's doing. So that makes this attack look a lot closer than it should be. My queen's not really contributing anything. But fortunately, I have an Ice Golem left over, which, as you can see here, will freeze the wrench tower and everything else, and some cleanup units will be able to take out the rest of the base. Alright guys, and that's going to be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Maybe take a look at our clan here. Relatively new clan. We have a perfect warlord, even though we only have 6 wars so far. If you're Town Hall 12 or above and you have some good strats in war, feel free to join our clan and help grow it. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.